agenda item? Anybody? Okay. All right, so we will move on to the next item on our agenda, which is to approve our consent agenda. So the items pertained in the consent agenda are the minutes of our August 26th tax hearing and the August 26th regular meeting, claims, the record of the superintendent's personnel actions, the leaves of absence, the Madison Central High School baseball trip to Niceville, Florida, April the 2nd through the 7th of 2022, declare maintenance surplus as presented and authorize the auction of those items, and the 21-22 certified evaluation appeals panel as presented, and 2 shortened school applications as presented. Do we have any questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
On the trip, it's just a question. On the school trip, I noticed that some of the students are riding with their parents. Used to, we had a policy where they could not, so we fixed something so that, and I understand why, there's no question why, but liability on insurance, and if they were to wreck,
Yep. And we have checked on that. We're okay on liability. That was something that we moved to whenever we started some of our COVID protocols, because there were some situations where we couldn't do trips with buses and so forth. So we moved to that, and we checked out with insurance. Everything seems to be okay with it. Yeah.
it just stood out to me today.
Yes, I understand.
Do we have any other questions on our consent agenda items? No? All right. So I need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, please.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Rutherford. Do we have a second?
Second.
And a second by Mrs. Coyle. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. And next on our agenda is our instruction report from our Gear Up team with Mr. Reister. I think he's got some of his staff with him.
The PowerPoint's coming. Good evening. We are here tonight. Our Gear Up has moved to high schools. They're working with 9th and 10th grade. And we also have Rebecca Isaacs with us from Berea College. So we're going to let them give you a little update, tell you who we have, and then tell you some stuff, real neat stuff going on at both high schools. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to the Gear Up staff.
Good evening. I'll start by introducing myself. I'm Jason Smith. I'm an academic interventionist at Madison Southern High School. And we want to do a little round robin here.
I'm Kathy Stringfield, and I'm the newest member of the College and Career Navigators at Southern.
I'm Jennifer Ramsey. I'm an academic interventionist at Madison Central.
I'm Christy Carlisle, and I'm a College and Career Navigator at Madison Central.
And I'm Rebecca Isaacs. I am the Program Manager for Academic Achievement for Gear Up Opportunity.
All right. Well, what I will talk about that's really exciting to help remediate learning that has cost us here in the past 18 months is ACT support with our students at Madison Southern High School. And we Gear Up staff, we worked a lot with ACT, several vendors, and what we've came up with, we'll be implementing with a program called Torch Prep. They are based out of Northern Kentucky, and I'm going to take a look at my notes so I don't mess anything up. We are, at Madison Southern, we're going to have 100 sophomores who will participate in a one-day academic blitz with Torch Prep. And their goal, everyone's goal here, is to reduce testing anxiety, grow our scores, and redeem some confidence in our students as they prepare for the ACT here this coming school year. Also, we'll be doing a data analysis day with our students in, I think, March of 2022, in which we'll be testing our students again through Torch Prep, and we'll be analyzing the data through professional development with our English, science, and math departments so that we can plan ahead for that 22-23 school year with our students. So we're on the ball there, and we definitely want to grow our students and help them develop as they prepare for the ACT with Torch Prep. One other program that we'll be implementing this year is called Mastery Prep as well, and there we'll fill in some remedial gaps with students who have specific ACT academic needs to grow them and their scores and to better prepare them for college as well. We'll do content bell ringers with their students so that they are aware of curriculum, and anything that they've missed, they're going to be prepared and ready to test. And again, our goal is to continue to close that achievement gap as we prepare students for the ACT. And we'll work with freshmen and sophomores specifically, and this will move in up with our students next year as they become sophomores and juniors. Anyone have any questions? Or?
That's fabulous.
I love the fact that you're using Torch Prep. I use Torch Prep with my own kids.
Yeah.
And it's a fantastic program and gives them just an amazing amount of confidence and strategy before they go into the test. And we had a great experience.
We're excited. We're very excited. I feel like, we're giving our students some top-notch, top-of-the-line resources to make them better.
I
We're
know
excited.
I may be getting ahead of the curve here, but I know Madison Central is doing the ACT October 5th. Is Southern doing the same?
Yes, our Torch Prep blast will be on September 29th, and ACT, yes, will be on October 5th. So we're going to prepare them ahead of the test on September 29th with Torch Prep. And we're already kind of starting to, I was in a department meeting today, and we're already starting to make plans to get Mastery Prep rolled out as it just entered the building. We just got it in a couple weeks ago, so we're ready to go.
That's exciting.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
I'll just follow up with what Mr. Smith said. We used Torch Prep in the last grant at Madison Central, so I'm very blessed to get to do this grant the second time. So I have been Torch Prepped myself 3 times, and also used another program where during the last grant, Berea College trained us to individually tutor and work on ACT. So we're doing our own boot camp at Madison Central for the sophomores, September 21st, 22nd, and 23rd after school, which leads me to the slide that we have up. Part of the Gear Up grant also is in-school tutoring and after-school tutoring by the academic interventionists themselves. So we pay for after-school tutoring for all subjects, language arts, math, and science. Also, we have a civics component in our grant, so we can manage to pay for social studies tutoring after school that is always available. We work with our students at Madison Central during their studio time, which is built in their schedule. It's 40 minutes a day. So right now, we are going through all of our sophomores and using the CERT program so that they can have that accomplished before the October 5th test, ACT test. CERT is a program that is by ACT. So it gives them an idea of what they're likely to score, plus there's remediation on the program, and we can go in during studio time and work with those students, or they can come to us, whichever way that it works the best. But since we have 1,300 students and there are 3 academic interventionists at Madison Central, we just try to do it the best way that it suits them. And then we're also working with counseling our kids on what it takes to get in dual credit next year as a junior, because we don't want it to hit them by surprise that by April of this coming year, they need to be at benchmark on their ACT. They think that they have a whole lot of time, and they don't necessarily. And we're talking with them about keys money and the pathways. If they're not going to go to college, what are the other avenues that you can pursue? And we're looking forward to our new technical school being ready. So,
What are the benchmarks for dual credit?
well, so the dual credit benchmarks vary a little bit they're different as far as what the national standards are, but at Central, you have to have a 21 in math to be in dual credit math. You have to have a 20 on the reading, and then you have to have an 18 in the English. So those are not really the national or the Kentucky benchmarks. Like you have to have a 19 in the math to stay out of remedial math in college. So we also encourage our students to get that benchmark in case they're going to college, even if they're not. Because a lot of kids are like, well, I'm not going to go to college. Well, you don't want to waste your money on an 090 class. So we try to explain to them that they need to at least be at a 19 in Kentucky, even though 21 is the national benchmark for math.
And as far as the boot camps go at Southern and the classes for you guys, do the students have to register for that, or is it part of their
The boot camps at Madison Central, so they're doing torch prep, and I think it's during the day, and they're pulling down the kids.
Okay.
We're going through their studios to work with them on ACT. But then for the boot camp, we are providing it after school. So we have it broke down into science and math strategies, English and reading strategies, and then practice time and remediation. We're doing 3 2-hour sessions after school, and all of their teachers already have the QR code that we created so they can go ahead and register for their boot camp.
As a parent of one of those students, I'm trying to make sure I get all the information.
Well, and it's on a bright green piece of paper hanging up in every studio class, and we remind them over and over to register. And then the juniors and seniors even though that's not my cohort, they're having a boot camp also. And I did just talk to a parent, and they didn't have any idea that it was going on, but it's actually going to be 1-hour sessions for 2 weeks after school. And the calls have gone out, and the emails have gone out about registering for it.
Ms. Cobb and I both have sophomores, so just because it's on that beautiful green piece of paper doesn't
Okay.
mean we'll know about it.
No, and it's also on their classroom. They all have been asked to join the Google Classroom, and so that is on the classroom also, and the link
Okay.
to register is on the classroom. We're
Perfect.
trying to use that classroom as an announcement,
Right.
a way for everyone to know, but not clutter it up with just unnecessary information. Just
Right.
put a lot of important things. And the counselors are supposed to use it too, and homecoming stuff will be on there. And now that we're going completely digital, it feels like. So, do y'all have any questions about the academic side?
I think it's great.
It's no secret that I'm like a huge fan of Europe. And I feel like that the students in Madison County, it just gives them a step up. Because you all are there early preparing them, as freshmen and sophomore, instead of them getting to their junior and senior years and saying, oh, I needed to do this and I'm behind. And so it's just invaluable. We're so thankful to have you all and
Thank
to
you.
have the Gear Up grant. It's
Thank you.
fantastic.
And these kids started with it at Madison Middle and some of the other middle schools.
Yes,
so
at
it's
Clark
even better.
Moore's. So,
All
Yeah.
through.
so we're just trying to get past the COVID delay that they're all feeling. Like they all have to take it real serious. We've missed a year of thinking about we're going to college. So I appreciate the support.
I was going to cover just a little bit about the CCN's role. It's a little bit different than the AIs. We focus on financial literacy. We use the EverFi program, and also we use Dave Ramsey at Madison Middle, and I pulled out a couple of those lessons because I thought they were really good. It talks about credit card usage, and it lets the kids see kind of what happens if you buy something and you don't pay it off. So that's the cost of credit lesson that we do with Dave Ramsey. And also, we also focus a lot on STEM activities. We try to bring a lot of STEM activities into the classroom as well as take them on trips. This past summer, we did a summer camp for the students, and we dissected sharks, and we're going to be bringing the shark dissections into the classrooms at Madison Central. We did a water study at Lake Reba, and we actually found an invasive snail, so they were really excited that they found something that they didn't know was there. They also had another summer camp at Newton's Attic in Lexington, which is a really great program that we're able to take the kids to. We have college visits. We have several college visits already planned this year. Now we try to make them more specific. If a student is interested in health sciences, we'll take them to the health science department and then do a large campus tour. So they're more specific on what they want their goals to be. So I think there might be, and that's our Gear Up staff. There are 6 of us, 3 academic interventionists and 3 college and career navigators at Madison Central. And then 2 academic interventionists at Southern and 2 college and career navigators.
Is Southern also doing the financial literacy stuff that she's referring to? Great.
As you can see on the screen, there are the Gear Up goals and objectives. And what you've heard prior to this is how the Gear Up teams have taken those objectives and the activities that are written into the Gear Up grant and how they're implementing them in their school. And I first want to say that when I hear parents talk about their love for Gear Up, I feel you there, because that's why I'm here. My oldest son was a part of a Gear Up cohort, and my youngest son was not. And it was just so obvious to me the advantages that my oldest son had because of Gear Up. He was so much more prepared, and myself as an educator, I just felt like I felt so short with my youngest son, and I realized that that Gear Up had done so much for my son that even as an educator, I knew he needed to experience, but working and not having the time. He went on every college visit, I think, that they had. But when I had the opportunity then to become a part of that, that's what I wanted to do. And I'm so glad to be here tonight. In keeping with the goals and objectives, by the roles that these folks do, you can tell that part of the objectives, particularly goal 1 and 2, focus on the academic side, and of course, now that they're in high school, largely on ACT. But the second goal talks about high school graduation and participation in post-secondary. So on the academic interventionists that I supervise lean heavily on those two goals. The third one focuses on STEM, and both of the college and career navigators and the academic interventionists take up with that goal. And then the remaining goals talks about the civics and financial literacy. And the focus there is in preparing them to be well-rounded individuals and good citizens. So those are important, and we try to assist our school teams in not only meeting the goals and objectives of the grant, but in taking care of kids. And I come in my prior life, they said, "What do you do?" And I said, "We try to take care of kids." And when I'm talking with these folks, every meeting that we have, I'll say, when they say, "Do we do this or we do this?" And our number one priority is always taking care of kids. So these guys are wonderful. I want to thank you, the board, the other administrators, Mr. Reister, for the support and the partnership that we have, because you don't always have a partnership. You may sign, both parties may sign the sheet of paper, but I feel like with Madison County Schools, we have a real partnership. So I want to thank you for that. And then I can't say enough about this team. I tell Mr. Reister all the time, I love my Madison County team because they want to take care of kids. And last year, during the pandemic, I saw them put in hour after hour taking care of kids. And so I want to thank you, I want to thank them, and I want you to know what a good job that you're doing.
We appreciate all of you all.
Oh, yeah.
And if you all have any specific questions for me, I'd be happy to take those.
I think the financial I'm with Ms. Brock. This is an incredible program. I wish there was a way to make
Do
sure
all of our
every
students.
student
Right.
had this opportunity. And I know when we talked about this when it first came on in the middle school, there's some things you can do to leave that legacy, and maybe some of these things we can leave that legacy in the high school. But you're right. There's no comparison.
Well, that's why I feel strongly about starting the grant in middle school, because they get to know these kids, and the kids get to know them. And I know with my own kids, when they were going from middle school to high school, and they were really nervous about that. And I'm like, well, you've always got Miss Casey. She's your go-to person. And so those kids learn early on, these folks are their go-to people, no matter what the problem is, and they'll take care of them. So I really appreciate them for the job that they do and appreciate you guys for the partnership we have.
Anybody else? Thank you all. Yeah, thank you all so very much for everything you do. It's wonderful. All right, next up, Mr. Thomas, Mr. Tony Thomas with our construction report.
Good evening, everyone. I'll start with Berea, the Ignite Academy South. As you come in from Mentalist Road, of course, you can see the gymnasium storm shelter, and they've already got a cap on top of it in this particular picture. And this is a look inside, and this was late last week, so they've actually done some more now, but this picture's from last Friday. The tower is going in, the steel, for the front entry piece, so they've worked really quickly and got the front entry area prepared. A lot of steel going up now, following up with Richmond, so it's not only gone vertical, now the roof's getting on top of it as well, so in pretty good shape there. This is a picture of just a typical, the office and the classroom right next to it with windows. You can see, this is the diesel lab. So you're looking into the classroom there, and the office is on the right, and the corridor to go out of that lab is all the way on the right of that. And this is standing in the corridor looking back towards the entry lobby piece there. You can tell that it's like the Richmond job. We've made them both with very wide corridors and high ceilings. This is a picture just looking through one of the labs through the big windows out towards Ferristown there. I thought that was a pretty neat shot, just the two schools really close together there. Now, if you remember in the renderings, only about this part is absolute transparent, you know, and from there up it's more translucent because there'd just be too much sun coming in, but you would be able to see the school and the bus loading area there. Just another picture of the front entry area there, and where the canopy will kind of hang over, and the entry doors. And that's it for Berea Ignite Academy. I know there's a couple of change orders later after the construction report, so I'll go ahead and explain those. Of course, I'll still be here if you have when you bring those up for a motion. The change order in Berea is where they have changed the vendor on the access controls at Madison County's request. It's $0. We're taking it away from the general contract and adding it with a purchase order back, the same exact dollar amount. So all we're doing is changing the manufacturer and no net increase to the project. And with that, I'll move on to Ignite Academy, the Richmond Area Technology Center. Of course, there's the tower. You can see the trim going around the top. I just drove by there. They've done a lot of work in the last few days. So there's joist all over. I think the CMU masonry, the block masonry is pretty much complete. And this is a picture inside underneath the equipment platform there, looking down the corridor. Here's another example of standing in the corridor and seeing where you can go into the office. The office is the window and the door on the left, and the corridor into the lab is on the left. They have a window there. They have a window down the corridor. And, of course, they're standing in the lab here. You're not in the corridor. You're standing in the lab here because you can see from the classroom out to the lab area there. Now, this is in the corridor, and it's a good example of how you can see through the door, through the classroom, into the lab, and all the way outside. So there's lots of visibility, lots of natural light bleeding all the way through to the inside of the building. And now we're able to climb up rickety ladders and get up on the second floor. They're tall enough now. So this is on a storage mezzanine in one of the labs, and you can see down through there how much storage space there'll be on the upper mezzanines in each one of those labs. And a lot of steel going on to the right there. Oops. Okay. I'm not good with this thing, am I? Yeah, there we go. And that's me tightrope walking a block wall out to get a picture of the tower there. So it's just, yeah. I took the mezzanine out to the very edge, but it was an interesting picture. When I looked at it, I thought, gosh, it looks like I'm standing on a narrow wall. And this is a picture standing inside, so you can see just how tall that is when you're standing in the lobby and looking at the entry area and then looking up. Of course, there'll be nice wood paneled ceilings and light fixtures, and it's going to be a nice lobby. There's a storage building out back, and they're ready to put doors and a roof on that, so I wish the rest of the building were in that shape. And this is a picture inside where they're storing some of their goods to keep them dry. We did, I think I told you at the last meeting that we were going to have a progress meeting on this job at the end of August to talk about schedule, because they had claimed 80 days. I think Mr. Cash and I thought that they'd say, well, can we at least have 60 of them or something like that? Well, they wanted about 100. Of course, it's like, well, which would put us into April or something like that. It's supposed to be done in January. I don't think either one of us smiled, did we, Mr. Cash? So we weren't happy about that. So we told them, you know, maybe you can get your legit weather days, because they had, as we reported, they've gone through some horrible weather, and the winter wasn't very good to them. But right now, as we're talking about it, I think realistically, they're into March, not January, into March. So that's the update. You always say, where are we on the schedule? I'd say that's probably where we are. So that's the Ignite Academy at Richmond. The one change order on there is an owner preference to go to a different type of clock system. It's not a increase to the general contractor's contract. We're basically increasing a purchase order. So they wanted to go to the Primex, if you've probably seen the documentation. I think it's for $3,482.47. That's to change to an owner-preferred clock system throughout the entire facility. Again, I'll be here if you all end up having questions on that. Clark Moore's. Any questions on the Richmond project? Clark Moore's construction report, they're moving all over this place, and they're doing a good job. Of course, these are all three Rising Sun contractors, and I think Mr. Cash and I both, except for the report on how late they wanted to be at the Richmond Center, have been very happy with the way they've worked with the owner, worked with the design team, worked with, and here having to work with Mr. Sexton and the school and the staff. They worked really hard to get the front loop in just before school started. But this is the view that I told you about. I'd keep taking this view, which is the very back of the room, and that's the athletic building. Coming up, you can see they've got underground plumbing, and they're ready to pour slabs. In fact, this was Friday, so that slab may be poured now. Talked to Mr. Sexton and Mr. Cash about brick. I have a rendering at the end of this presentation, but that's the brick, which is pretty close. You know, there's different bricks in addition all around the building, but this is the front corner that you see from the road. And that piece of the puzzle is still staying there, so we wanted to match that as good as we could. The bronze piece on the top, which is showing up almost black in this picture, it's not black, it's a bronze, will be all the metal panel. You know, it's very, you know, we're changing out all the metal panel all the way around. So that'll be that bronze color. And there's a stone color that you've seen in the renderings, and we'll see it, but there's also a little vertical soldier course band, which is that little brick up to the top there. That'll be the accent color. So Mr. Sexton and the art teacher and the staff there help pick all that out. So they were happy about that. And there's the parent pickup lane we were talking about. We're looking at, I think Dr. Killam and Mr. Cash wanted to look at even maybe can we make some of this wider and maybe even make it double lane. It's helped some, but so we're having the contractor give us a proposal to even add more asphalt around the edge of that, and they have that proposal now. And of course the kitchen addition, the cooler freezer to the right there is our big cooling tower that everybody loves, but this is the kitchen addition going on around the back of the kitchen. This is what was the Tech Ed Center, is now being divided up into several classrooms. We usually go with block wall, but you can see studs here, and we're going to put vandal resistant gypboard there. It's a crawl space there, so we can't really, it's all in bouncy joists, so we couldn't really put block there. But it's only going to be one wall of each classroom. HVAC's going in, ducts going, I should say HVAC, all the ductwork and controls and wiring and conduit are going in. They're still waiting on the HVAC units. The cafeteria, you can see it's stripped out, and now they're just waiting on some of the units. We're in a little bit of a delay because they came in and did their demolition real quick, even quicker than they could get the equipment on site. So in some cases, they're waiting for materials to get to the site. And I know Mr. Cash has talked to us lately and the contractors about trying to get some of these areas done, because I know Mr. Sexton and the school and the county want to get spread some of the kids out and get them back into the other classrooms as quick as possible. So we're talking to them about trying to expedite some of the areas, especially Area D, the area that's being renovated. This is where the stage had that folding partition. We're just blocking that up. They don't ever use it from that side anyway, so there'll be more wall space in the cafeteria. And this is the rendering. You can kind of see some of the brick and the stone and the metal panel up above. That's closer to the color. And here's a rendering showing that accent brick, the lower stripe there. The two parallel stripes up high are actually stone, which is what you'll see on the canopy. And then there's a brick stripe down low that goes all the way around the building. That will be that lighter colored brick. And that is it for Clark Moore's. Any questions on Clark Moore's construction?
Are they running into any, because I know you mentioned equipment, are they running into a lot of supply chain issues that are slowing them down with that equipment that goes in that kitchen?
It seems like at the tech centers they are, but we haven't heard anything yet at these areas because they were basically kind of running on schedule, but we want to improve that schedule a little bit. We're still looking at shop drawings on this project because it really hasn't been going that long. But we've got all the shop drawings in now, and they haven't come back to us yet. He was supposed to get with us today, I think, but I didn't hear a date today about when we could get into one of the areas. They have not reported to us that at Clark Moore's there's been a supply chain issue. But at the technology centers, the HVAC and things of that nature, they're running into cost increases. Some of the subcontractors are having to, we say, eat some price increases because they're in a lump sum bid contract. And it's just, they've had to go through this summer, which has been horrible on inflation for everyone. And at the same time, their cost increases, they're saying, and that's part of the problem with the HVAC at the tech center is they're not going to get some of these units till January. Well, that's when we were supposed to be done. They're not going to have some of these HVAC units till January, which hurts their schedule, of course. So the supply issue has hit us more at the Ignite Academies.
Anybody else have any other questions for Mr. Thomas? No?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next up on our agenda is to approve our monthly financial reports, and we have Mr. Mark Woods, our finance officer.
Good evening.
Hello, how are you?
Fine, how are you all?
Good.
All right. As of August 31st, the district ended with a reconciled balance of $84,322,732.02. You can see that's up. We've got three big projects underway right now. It did jump a little bit from this time last month even. We had a bond sale that happened during the month of August, and we received our funds for that. That was $6 million. So really, we're up. The areas we're up are our construction funds, and we'll be up until we spend those down on the project. So that makes up the real difference there. Of the reconciled balance, we still have $5,740,990.65 in investments. Those rates still remain extremely low. In your board packet, you also had a copy of the balance sheet and the revenue and expense report for August 31st. Everything seems to be going on track with those. We're currently in the process of doing the working budget, so the budget that you see on the revenue and expense report will change. That will be in a couple of weeks. We will bring the working budget to you.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Woods? Okay, so I need a motion to approve our monthly financial reports as presented.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion by Mrs. Brock. Do we have a second?
Second.
There we go. We all said it.
A second by Mr. Rutherford. All those in favor? Aye. All right, great, motion carries. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, and so next on our agenda is to approve the change order for the Ignite Academy, the North Campus. Tony kind of mentioned this. Is there any other details you want to go into?
No, he touched on it, $3,482.47 just to change brands. And the reason for that is so the brand that we're using there is consistent with brands we're using throughout the district. So we don't have to maintain, it's an integrated clock system. You have to maintain software systems and everything to operate it. So that's the purpose.
Okay, all right. Do you have any questions?
Why was this facility done with one brand of clock and Berea done with the other one, and then we had to come back and do the change order?
Because when they put it out to bid, we did not specify. Oftentimes, they will use the one that we want. Sometimes if we specify that in the bid, they increase the price just because we asked for that special thing. So we go with low bid first, and then if it's not a satisfactory provider, then we switch it out. So.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Okay, so I need a motion to approve the change order for Ignite Academy of Madison County North Campus.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Mrs. Coyle and a second by Mrs. Brock. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. And then next up, we have a change order for Ignite Academy South Campus. Tony also kind of touched on that. Anything additional you want to say about that?
Same type situation. This will be a little different because the next item on the agenda is to approve the PO, but this is for the access controls. We have Vanderbilt controls throughout our district, so with the same, we're talking about our scan cards that you can scan into the thing. So, and those have been provided by Schiller Hardware because that's the vendor for those. This would take this out of the Fayette Electric contract, and it would just simply remove that. And for that same amount we're getting removed, Schiller will install the same product, just the brand that we have. Because
We're just-
oftentimes those suppliers are proprietary, so.
Yeah, we're just shifting contractors.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? No? Okay. So I need a motion to approve the change order for the Ignite Academy South Campus.
So moved. All right, I'll second.
We have a motion by Mr. Rutherford and a second by Mrs. Burford. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then along the same lines of the agenda item we were just talking to, we need a motion to approve the purchase order for this item for South Campus, purchase order number 49356 in the amount of $41,700. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion by Mrs. Brock, and do we have a second?
Second.
All right, and a second by Mrs. Burford. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Get to my next page here. Okay. Next on the agenda is to create and ratify a migrant paraeducator.
Yes, this is an additional paraeducator we're wanting to add for the year for our migrant students to just simply assist with closing those learning gaps that have occurred over the past year. This would be a one-year piece, and it will be paid for by the migrant grant funds. It's already been approved by the migrant state and regional offices.
Okay. Are they assigned to the district as a whole, or do they work with just certain schools?
They will work with the migrant students across the district.
District.
Yes. Mhm.
Thank you. All right. Do we have any other questions? No? Okay. So I need a motion to create and ratify one migrant paraeducator.
So moved.
All right. We have a motion by Mrs. Brock. Do we have a second?
Second.
A second by Mrs. Coyle. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion carries. And then next is to approve the renewal of Edgenuity.
Yeah, Edgenuity, as y'all probably heard previously, Edgenuity is our online curriculum set that we use. We've been using it for several years. We really used it heavily during the last year and a half. But this is for a district-wide, all students, middle and high, have access to Edgenuity. We use it for our credit recovery programs. We use it for to expand course offerings if a student is wanting to take a particular course in a particular area. So it really, that we may not have enough students to make an entire course for. So it really provides us with a lot of flexibility. And again, it covers all students across the district, middle and up.
Does it also include our students who are in our virtual academy, obviously?
Yes, yes.
All the schools aren't listed here.
Let me pull that up and see what is listed. I said it covered all schools, middle and up, and then we do have some that, some of our elementaries are provided there as well.
And this is just a renewal. We've used Edgenuity for
Yes.
a few years, haven't we?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right, do we have any other questions? Okay, so I need a motion to approve the renewal of the Edgenuity courseware for $64,000 as presented.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion by Mrs. Burford, and we have a second by Mr. Rutherford. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. And next on our agenda item is to approve the technology activity report. Let me just kind of give a brief summary. This is just, we're required by the state to approve our technology activity report, which is a collection of technology purchases and employee pay that are associated with our technology for the prior fiscal year. The purpose of the report is to report technology expenditures to fulfill our KETS master plan. It's approved each year, and we have to submit it to the Kentucky Department of Education. So, and we've all had an opportunity to review that report. Do we have any questions on our report? No? Okay, so I need a motion to approve the district technology report as presented.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion by Mrs. Brock. Do we have a second?
Second.
And a second by Mrs. Burford. All those in favor? Aye. All right, perfect. And then next on our agenda is to request approval by the Kentucky Board of Education to acquire our property for Madison Middle.
Okay, so before I talk about this, I don't want to get out of order, but I do want to answer Ms. Cole's questions regarding the Edgenuity purchase. There are a few elementaries listed there. Some of in our virtual school, in virtual academy, we provide some extended coursework. Those kids have face-to-face teaching, but we also have a few additional courses that they can take that's an Edgenuity piece. Those are the schools where those virtual teachers are located and housed, and so therefore, in order to have that, and Edgenuity provided us that at no additional cost. That renewal fee is the same fee we paid for it.
That makes more
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. So, yeah, when I opened that up, I saw that. So, all right, now I apologize for that. All right, so item 5F there, the 5H, request approval from the Kentucky Board of Education to acquire the property. So, the board voted I guess it was a couple of months ago to purchase the property there for a new Madison Middle School. It's on our district facility plan. And in that property acquisition, there's a bit of a caveat in some of that reg that regarding the total price of the property and also the site development costs and all of the things associated with that. The state's become pretty picky the last few years, specifically on what has to be included in that, which is a few more things than they used to look at. So that raises that cost piece, and then they go by. We're not going to exceed 10%, but the reg says 10%, but it's 10% of what's on the district facility plan. And district facility plan goes by the minimum square footage and a minimal cost estimate. So it's truly a lowballed number that we have to get over that threshold. So in order to meet to satisfy that reg, and this is commonplace with middle schools and high schools because with middle schools and high schools, you have a larger campus and you have more development costs because of the acreage that's required for those. So in order to satisfy that regulation, we do have to request permission through the request approval by the Kentucky Board of Education. We are set on we're suggested to be on the October agenda for that, pending board approval, and it is going with the commissioner's recommendation to approve. So it's just really an administrative hurdle we have to jump through. So I would recommend that you make that request to Kentucky Board of Education.
Do we have any questions?
No, but just to clarify too, we don't jump out and buy a property before we do that. They even come and assess the site to give us approval. I mean, because they look at all different things.
It is an exhaustive process.
Exhaustive.
Yes, and it requires multiple approvals through transportation cabinet and also all of our local entities, as well as it has to be on our district facility plan, which is devised by our local planning committee, which you all know the steps involved in assembling and getting that group together. It has to meet all of those. The site itself has to meet all of those requirements based on population and need, and then it has to be appraised. It has to have adequate utility. So it's an exhaustive process, as you all know. Yes.
And each one of those 100 steps you just mentioned requires approval by KDE.
Yes, it does. Mm-hmm.
Before we even
Before
buy
we
the
can
property.
even buy
Yes.
the property.
Yes.
Before it gets to us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't want it to look like we went out and signed a contract for property and hadn't crossed, done our due diligence.
Correct.
When we've been doing due diligence for a long time.
Do we have any other questions? No? Okay. So I need a motion to request approval by the Kentucky Board of Education to acquire property for the new middle school for which the acquisition and site preparation costs exceed 10% of the maximum budget for the project.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Mrs. Brock, and we have a second by Mr. Rutherford. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Thank you all. And then next we have our superintendent's report.
All right, well, thank you. First thing I want to do is say congratulations to Mr. Brandon Rutherford. He was selected to serve on the local school board member advisory council for the state, so he's going to be doing that for the next couple of years, so congratulations there. And then next, the main thing that I want to do tonight in superintendent's report is honor our staff members that are fighting the good fight for the kids in Madison County. So far this school year, we've been able to maintain in-person instruction every day. And this is due entirely to the dedication and diligence of our school employees. Our folks have embraced an all-hands-on-deck attitude to do great things for our kids and community. As we started out this year, we said that we would keep our students in person unless we reach a point where we can't staff our schools in a way that we can adequately provide a safe environment. We might reach that point soon, but we have not yet. And just whenever I think that we've been pushed to the edge, our staff members have been able to reach down, find a little more energy, a little more grit, a little more determination to keep going. The employees of our district have made tremendous personal sacrifices. Many are adjusting their personal lives so that they're able to avoid exposure. I heard just the other day from an employee that skipped a family birthday party because they were afraid that they might run into a quarantine there and not be able to come to work. Some of them have delayed medical procedures. They've canceled personal day plans because they knew their absence would make it more difficult on their colleagues. Teachers are covering classes during their planning time. Paraeducators are performing tremendous duties to keep learning going on in the classroom. Our bus drivers are running double routes. Cafeteria workers are understaffed, but they're still feeding every school in our district. Our district HR department is processing new substitutes and assisting employees with leave options every day. Our front office staff and attendance clerks are under a mountain of absentee excuses and COVID test results as they try to process our attendance and gather makeup work for our students. And our custodians are keeping our schools clean even when they're missing members of the crew. Principals are steering the ship and adjusting their sails every day because they come in every single morning and deal with staff shortages and multiple student absences. And to provide some perspective, last year we frequently commented on how difficult it was for our teachers and staff to maintain that hybrid format because they had half their students at home and half of them in the class. Well, we're not quite to the 50-50 mark right now, but our teachers are having to deal every day with students at home, students in the classroom, and keep both ends going. It's seemingly a revolving door of quarantines coming and going from our schools. And lastly, no group has been on the front line more than our school nurses. Anyone in the school building can attest to the challenges that have been thrown their way. If you don't want to ask a school person, just drive by the parking lot late at night and look for the cars of our school nurses. They're probably there at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, trying to process the things that they have to do. They've worked day and night. They've worked from home on weekends and on off days. And they've had to make calls home and deliver news that's sometimes not very well received when that parent is told that their child has to quarantine. But they've been tremendous. And it is it's just a testament to their calling to keep kids safe. So we certainly appreciate that work. So with all this said, make no mistake, we would not be keeping our schools open without the significant sacrifice of our staff members, top to bottom, and the dedication that they have to the students that we serve. Tonight, I consider each of them to be heroes. That's my superintendent report.
All right, perfect. And I'll echo those sentiments. All right. Do we have any more comments from the board?
I just say with what you just talked about, I mean, we always appreciate our teachers, nurses, and all the staff. But as of these times, it just shows how much more they're willing and dedicated to do that. And I urge parents and other people to just make that little bit of effort to tell them how much they appreciate it, because I know it'll make a difference to them.
Anybody else? No? Okay. All right. So we do have public comments. We have Jordan Hewitt. Is Mr. Hewitt here? No. Okay. All right. Well, I will just real quickly just take this opportunity to just kind of remind everybody about our policy about speaking at our board meetings regarding non-agenda items. Our policy is to request that permission from Ms. Jeannie Caldwell 5 business days prior to our meeting. So if, I know we had a few folks that had asked to speak this evening, but they didn't get that request in within that 5 business days. So just a reminder, if you would like to address the board on a non-agenda item. Can't hear me? Okay. If you would like to address the board on a non-agenda item, you need to make that request with Ms. Jeannie Caldwell 5 business days prior to our meeting, or basically the week before. So just a reminder if anyone needs to speak. I know we had a couple of folks that had asked to speak this evening that didn't hit that time frame. So, and they have the opportunity to speak at that September 23rd meeting we have coming up. So, all right. Anything else from anybody? No? Okay. Then I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. We have a motion by Mr. Rutherford. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. And we have a second by Mrs. Brock. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Meeting is adjourned.